listening to The Mark Cox Show. Follow the show on Facebook, facebook.com/The Mark Cox Show.
Well, we're doing absolutely the right thing, and I think right from the beginning, this is pretty predictable. In other words, we knew that the Chinese would always probably keep some of a back door open with North Korea, and we're on a collision course with them, and we got to just buckle down here with them.
Here to talk about that collision course is Rachel Sutherland from Fox News Radio. Rachel, thanks for calling in the show. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So tell us about this collision course and where we stand in that currently.
Well, you know, with North Korea, there definitely needs to be a change of direction. It looks like the Trump administration has done that with targeting these ships that do coal transfers. And since North Korea relies so heavily on coal for both its not only its ballistic program, but just its everyday economic needs, this really hits Pyongyang pretty seriously. And we're hearing word that perhaps through the South, that the North might be willing to come to the negotiating table. But this just happens right after the North reportedly canceled a planned meeting with Vice President Mike Pence while he was in South Korea for the Olympic Games. That meeting wasn't even on the record. So it just seems to me that North Korea might be looking to save face. They might be looking to look like they're cooperating when they're really not, and then turn around and do something else, like fire a missile maybe next week.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like when it comes to North Korea, they're just consistently inconsistent.
Well, it seems as though the Trump administration has taken quite the hard-nosed approach to negotiations with North Korea. What is the Trump administration's bare minimum to even have talks? What do they need to hear from North Korea to sit down and at the table with North Korea to begin a discussion?
Well, it looks like the bar might be fairly low, because if the vice president was willing to sit down just a few weeks ago after the North had been acting up, then I don't think it'll take much except for, hey, we're willing to talk. I think that there's little to be lost from just sitting down and talking. I think that's the position of the administration anyway, and they've always said that diplomacy would be first, although they've always said that military action is still on the table. But I think that the squeeze is really coming to Kim Jong-un. They're really putting the screws on him. If they can't get coal, he can't do what he needs to do to even feed his people, and he barely does that anyway.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So is the Trump administration's approach towards North Korea and how we handle our relationship with them, is it drastically different than Obama or any of his other predecessors? Is the Trump administration different in any particular way?
I think so. I think that he's taking a bit of a more hardline stance against Kim Jong-un, whereas President Obama it looked like he almost had a policy of containment. However, some people would say that doing things like calling him Rocket Man on Twitter maybe isn't helping. But other people say, well, maybe it does, because it he's speaking Kim Jong-un's language. This is the way that he speaks that way too. So maybe it's a matter of kind of meeting him where he's at. In a language he can understand. So there's a couple of different ways to look at it, I suppose.
So it seems to me like the stories that I hear about North Korea, there's a lot of talk and maybe not a whole lot of walk on Kim Jong-un's part. At what point do we start taking what he's saying he's willing to do and not willing to do seriously, or is it just we're going to have to see it to believe it?
I think that the Trump administration is taking it seriously. When they were recently demonstrated they were able to strike the continental U.S. with a nuclear warhead, and remember that false alarm in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. It's just no fun really living in that way, and I think that's why the Trump administration has stepped up with these new round of sanctions, again targeting coal transfers on ships, so cutting off really a large amount of supply to North Korea and will cripple them. So I think that is a tough approach, and it's one step short of any other action that they could take. I think the Trump administration has been taking a stepwise approach to dealing with North Korea and stepping it up, and at the same time saying, hey, look, we're willing to talk. Mm-hmm. And also nuclear or military action is still on the table.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely continue to follow the story as it continues to develop. Rachel Sutherland, Fox News Radio, thanks for the time.